Hi, my name is Andy with Truck School TEOFT, Training and Employment of Truckers. Today we're doing engine compartment, pre-trip inspection part 1. Everything in the front of the tractor, under the tractor, and around the engine. Let's get it going. Truck keys are in my pocket. It's very important for safety so that nobody's gonna grab a truck and go somewhere. Let's start from the clearance light, 5 lights, amber color up top, well attached, not broken, not cracked, in working order. We have also clearance light here and here. There are 2 additional functions, turn signal and 4-way flashers. We have clearance light on each side of the vehicle, amber color, well attached, not broken or cracked, in working order. Headlights, both low beam and high beam, securely mounted, no cracks, no damage, in working order. Tractor unit itself is not leaning. If it would lean or leaning in one side or another, there could be potentially problem with the flat tire or suspension. Under the tractor, we have no hanging wires, no hanging parts, no leak of any kind. Now, let's open the hood and go on the right hand side. Let's see. So over here we're going to cover a couple of components. Let's start with exhaust before I jump there. Intercooler and air goes into turbine. Behind the turbine, that's the heat exchange cover. Everything after that cover going down, it's exhaust. Exhaust system is well attached to the engine. Securely mounted to the frame. All straps are tied in place, no black spots, no cracks, no damage. Looking good. Now let's go ahead and jump to a second component. No, go ahead. That's gonna be our water pump. I'm just gonna go ahead and point this. The Regio water pump right there. Sometimes it's not clear. You can refer to the bell routing diagram. In this diagram, I stands for water pump. T, tensioner, is right here. AC, air condenser. A, alternator. F, fan. And crank case on the bottom. So we're looking at I, which is right in here. So water pump. Water pump is belt driven. It's securely mounted to the engine, not broken, not cracked, no missing bolts. No leaks. Now, let's go ahead and talk about alternator. Alternator is belt driven as well. Well attached, no missing bolts, no damage, no crack. Wires are tight. Now, let's go ahead and address coolant tank. Coolant tank is well attached, no missing bolts, no damage, no crack, no leak. Cap is tied, no leak around the cap. Coolant level is above minimum mark. Washer fluid tank. It's plastic. It also is well attached. No missing bolts, no damage, no crack, no leak. Cap is tight. Fluid is above minimum. While we're here, let's also talk about frame. So frame. Not bent, broken, or cracked. No illegal welding, no extra holes. Most of the frame nowadays, they will have a sticker where it says don't drill, don't weld. Now let's go on the other side right now and address other aggregates and components that we have on the driver's side. On this side, we'll start with all hoses. Hoses from the tank, here. Good condition, no cuts, no rips, no bulging, no cracks, no leaks. Straps are tight. All hoses looking good. All belts. In this case, there is only one belt. Belt is in good condition. No cuts, no rips, no fray. Free play, no more than 3/4 of an inch. The way you can check it, just push it down and see what the free play is. Let's say if it stays here and it moves only 1/4 of an inch, that tension is really good. Now let's jump to dipstick. Dipstick, here we check engine oil level. In California, you should not remove this. You just have to mention Here we check engine oil level. It should be above minimum mark. Dipstick is in locked position, not broken or cracked. Now let's move along and jump to the air compressor. Air compressor, you can see it's a 2-cylinder air compressor. It sits next to the engine. It's gear driven. It's well attached. It's not broken. It's not cracked. No missing bolts. No leak. Right in front of the air compressor, this is where it is, power steering pump. It's kind of silvery looking. It's also gear driven. It's well attached. No missing bolts. No cracks. No damage. No leak. From power steering, we have power steering hoses. Hoses looking good. They're well attached. No cuts, no rips, no bulging, no leak. While we're here, let's talk about tank. This is a power steering tank. It's well attached. It's not broken, it's not cracked, it's not leaking. Cap is tight. This is where we check oil level. It should be above minimum mark. Follow the hoses. It goes to gearbox. Gearbox is well attached to the frame. All bolts in place, not missing. Gearbox itself not broken, not cracked. It has no leak. From gearbox, we have steering shaft. Steering shaft should not have any play more than 10 degrees. This one has almost no free play. It's not bent, broken, or cracked. It looks like it's in good condition. Universal joints on both ends are well greased. They're not broken, they're not cracked. No missing hardware, all bolts in place. So there should be greased at certain. Now let's go ahead and jump to the steering. Over here, looking down, it's a Pitman arm, drag link. This is steering arm, right here where it's connected. If you look from the top, it's right here, steering arm. And tie rod at both ends. Tie rod, I'm touching right here from the bottom. This is the end of the line. They're all well interconnected with castle nuts and cotter pins. If it happens that you forgot the castle nuts, just mention nuts and pins safety. So that's a worldwide standard. Everything that has to do with steering, it's interconnected with those kind of nuts. Why do we call them castle? Because they look like a top of a castle. Now, they're not bent, broken, or cracked. No visible damage here. Now let's go ahead and jump on the suspension. Front suspension. We'll go from the beginning. Spring mount. Spring mount is well attached to the frame. No missing bolts, no cracks, no damage. Leaf springs. In this case, we have two. They're not missing, they're not shifted, they're not broken, they're not cracked. U-bolts and spacer on the top and also a few on the bottom right there. They're all in place, not bent, broken, or cracked. 4 nuts at the bottom are present and tight. So, now the last component of suspension in this particular truck is a shock absorber. Shock absorber is well attached on the bottom and top. It's not bent, broken, or cracked. It doesn't have any apparent leak, and it has good bushing. Now, let's move on to front air brake system. Air lines to the brake chamber. Air lines to the brake chamber, they're in good condition. They're well attached on both ends. No cracks, no tears, no rips, no bulging, no leak. Brake chamber itself is well attached. No missing bolts, not damaged, not cracked. Strap is tight and it's not leaking. Over here we have push rod. Push rod is coming from the brake chamber. When you apply brakes, it comes out. It shouldn't come out more than 1 inch on release brakes, or in other words, free play should be no more than 1 inch. Here we have a slack adjuster. From slack adjuster, we're gonna move on to brake shoes. They're inside the wheel. We can't really see them here. I'm touching with my hand. It's probably not visible, but let's go ahead and use the other side of the tire. Okay, the other side of the tire. Let's take a look and see if I can do this, point it out. So over here, I'm touching brake shoes. Brake shoes are sitting well in the drum. They're not cracked, they're not broken. Thickness of the brake shoe should be no less than 1/4 of an inch. That thing where it doesn't go any narrower, that's 1/4 of an inch. That's a visible cue for the owner or for the driver. They're sitting in the drum. Drum is looking good. It should not have any cracks, no grease, no oil. Now let's get from the outside to the inside on the rim. So rim, obviously, it looks good. No damage, not bent, not broken, not cracked. Sometimes they have micro cracks here, which is very dangerous for front steering, but this one doesn't have it. No illegal welding. It's secured with lug nuts and washers. They're all present and tight. No rust runs, no shiny spots. That's indicative that it's tight. Right inside here, we have a hub oil seal. Hub oil seal mounting bolts are all in place. Hub oil seal itself has no damage, no crack, no dents. Cap is tight. This is cap, this is a drain plug. Refill, and oil should be above minimum mark. 2 notches, one here, one here. The one that is on the top, it's max. The one that is on the bottom is min. Oil is about here. Okay. Rim has a stem wall. It's sealed with metal cap and it's not leaking. Now let's go ahead and jump on the tires. Tire ICD. I, inflation. Check with the air gauge. Inflation should be between 100 and 110 psi. Condition. Evenly worn, no cracks, no reaps, no damage, no cuts, no bulging, no recap on the steer tire. The depth should be no less than 4/32 of an inch. That concludes our part A for the pre-trip. Good luck and go get it.